Now, we've been seeing a bunch of Kaido downplay these recent weeks, ever since Loki was introduced in the manga and in the anime. Everyone and their mom has been gassing him. Now, I understand why everybody's been gassing Loki. I mean, he's an ancient giant, he has a mythical zoan fruit, and he has Conqueror's haki. Plus, he was able to kill King Harold, who was immortal, and possessed Conqueror's haki of his own. So, I understand the gas, honestly. But we're not gonna sit here and act like Kaido is weaker than Loki, because that's just ridiculous. And honestly, the recency bias within the One Piece community is astonishing, because a few years ago, Kaido was regarded as the strongest creature in the world. And now I see people like barely putting him in the top 10 strongest in the verse, which is ridiculous. I still think Kaido is stronger than Luffy currently, because not only did he have mastery over all three types of haki, he had mastery over his mythical zoan fruit, which is more than Luffy can say, based on his fight with Imo and his performance, which is very terrible if we're being honest, because I think Kaido would put up a better performance against Imo. Now, I'm not saying Kaido is stronger than Imo, or that he would beat him, but he would put up a better performance, at least better than Loki and Imo, and I think Kaban too as well. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like Kaban is weak or anything. He is the left hand of the Pirate King's crew, like, he's Roger's left hand man. So, of course he's gonna be strong, but the way I see people talk about him, they are kind of overrating him a little bit. Like, I've seen people saying he would notice Kaido, which is insane, just because he landed an attack against Imo, who isn't taking anyone serious at the moment. But I'm kinda getting sidetracked a little bit. I was gonna talk about Kaido versus Loki, not how he fares up against Kapan and Imo. But talking about Imo is inevitable at this point, because Imo is the current strongest person in the show, and he's the only person that Loki has fought one-on-one, seriously. And I'm not gonna count the Herald fight, because Herald was just standing there, letting him hit him. I know people like to use that as a feat, but I don't take that as a feat personally, because the way I've seen it is Harold got his mark taken off clean by Loki's claw, and then he just told him that, hey, I'm losing my mind. You need to take care of me before I cause any more problems for Elbaf and the rest of the world. And now people are using that as a feat to say that, oh, Loki is top one, Loki is stronger than Kaido, Loki noticed Kaido, which is ridiculous, because based on the fight against Imo, Loki hasn't shown any types of advanced forms of haki, and we've seen a major weakness of Loki that he's too big in his dragon form, and he tends to lose sight of his enemies during the fight, which is a major disadvantage, because you need to see the person you're fighting in order to fight them back. Otherwise, you're just a sitting duck, especially if it's huge as an island or a mini island. And I know people will bring up the fact that Kaido lost to Luffy, but we'll avoid all the factors that led up to the fight against Kaido in Onigashima. They will avoid the fact that Kaido was fighting against the 9 Red Scarlets and Big Mom before he fought against Luffy. And we found out that the Scarlets could harm Kaido, but couldn't necessarily take him out. And the fight with Big Mom lasted for like 3 days and 3 nights. And then the raid on Onigashima happened, which is when he fought against the Scarlets. And then after that, Loki, not Loki, Luffy Law, and Kid and Zoro went to attack Big Mom and Kaido on the rooftop. Now eventually Zoro, Kid, and Law went on to have their own separate fights away from Kaido. One against King and the other two against Big Mom herself, which left only Luffy against Kaido on the rooftop. And Luffy lost, and he lost like three separate times against Kaido. And the third time, he got killed by Kaido, which then led to his awakening. But even when Luffy awakened his foot, he still couldn't defeat Kaido. And the only reason he was still able to defeat Kaido was because Kaido was lifting up Onigashima, and he was feeling the effects from the previous fights during the course of the arc. And even then, he was still able to counter Luffy's Bartron gun using his flaming dragon torch. And to be serious, Kaido could have still dodged the attack and countered because Luffy was on his last legs, if we're being honest. Like, if he missed the attack, he would have been done. Everybody would have died during that arc. But that doesn't change the fact that Kaido could still beat Luffy during this current arc during Albert, and he could still defeat Loki, who's everyone's gassing up to be the top guy within the verse, even though he doesn't really have any feats, if we're being honest. The only feat he has, which is concrete, is like getting a hit off against Emo, who was distracted in the fight. Like, that's the only feat that Loki has, which is concrete. And I'm mainly talking about attack power, or AP, because all his attacks against Emo have not landed. Emo has blocked them and countered them, and every attack that Emo has countered with has landed 100% of the time. And this seems to be more of like a showcase of Loki's tanking ability more than anything, and no one's gonna disagree with that. He has like a top tier defense within One Piece, but that doesn't get you far enough when you're dealing with the top tiers who can bypass your external defense and attack you from the inside. And Loki hasn't shown any type of advanced haki. He hasn't shown any types of advanced conquest haki, advanced armament, advanced observation, like nothing. He has nothing to put him over Kaido. The only thing he has is the devil fruit, which just makes him bigger, which isn't that much of an advantage as we've seen against Emo, because he loses sight of his opponents, which is a major flaw when you're fighting against someone who is fast as Kaido, who was able to like keep up with Gear 5 Luffy. And Gear 5 Luffy is fast, at least faster than Loki. As we see, he was able to like perception blitz Emo during the exchange in 1188 or 87, I'm not quite sure of the chapter then. But my point still stands, that Kaido is still stronger than Loki and Luffy. But I'll end it there for now. Maybe I'll make a video in the future putting Kaido directly against Loki, feet for feet, and all that stuff. But yeah, if you like the video, please leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, thank you.